All right, we're recording now, so let's get it going. This is for real this time. Like, I don't know how to fade this thing out, though. Like, I don't want it to just...
completely stop.
Yeah. How do I fade it out? Ooh.
I'm just going to say it has to be a volume.
But make sure when you do it, you turn it off.
All right, y'all boys ready? Y'all ready for this?
Let's go.
Episode number 9. I think I'm ready. Let's try this. Episode number 9. All right. Welcome to On the Sideline. I'm your host, Jeff Holden. We're here with Big O and Coach Hearn. Thanks for tuning in. We have a show today for you guys. We're down a man, so it's just a 3-man crew today.
Yes, sir.
We got to pick up our interview. We got to start getting more interviews in here because, don't you agree?
Yeah, it helps out.
But anyway, so we're going to start with our achievements and, acknowledgments that we always start with. First thing is we have 2 lady soccer teams. I think all the boys soccer teams are out.
Yes, the boys are all out.
So we have the lady Old High Coyotes.
Yes. They made it to the Region 1 tournament at Justin Northwest. They'll be going against, I'll probably butcher this, but Salado Lady Eagles, and they play at 10 a.m. So good luck to the Lady Coyotes.
Friday morning.
Friday morning.
You're good.
I'm saying tomorrow. And also Friday morning, the Lady Raiders soccer team is playing at Memorial Stadium here in Wichita, who hosts the regional Region 1 tournament, and they'll be facing off against, I just went
Westfield or something? Is it West?
Lubbock Coronado.
There you
I
go,
should know
there
that
you
because they're from the hometown or from around my area, the Panhandle. So good luck to those ladies as well. 10 o'clock, tune in to the Lady Coyotes, root them on, and then at 12:30, if you can, Friday, make it out to Memorial Stadium and cheer on the Lady Raiders. I know at Ryder, they're giving out the students can get out of class. They can get
that's
out of
cool.
Class with a parent note to go support. So students,
With a parent note.
parent note for your next
Write those notes, parents.
So
Not
good
children.
How cool, though? How cool is that for Ryder's for the girls' soccer last year? And, man, that would be cool if they go even further.
And I think it's pretty, like you said, it's a pretty neat deal, for those sports, Old High and the Lady Raiders, to keep going as far as they've gone. I think now you're getting into the last of the Mohicans in sports, of WFISD, that these 3 schools are going to be coming to an end soon. And so soccer you have left. Obviously, it's the regional or the district track meet, which we'll touch here in a few, but softball and baseball are, your last sports that you're having to hold on to for WFISD. So kudos to everybody.
And it's strong. You got your state champion.
And kudos to these ladies that are keeping it going.
Yeah, so we have maybe some difficulties here. I see your thing on the monitors cutting in and out. So I'm gonna turn your thing off and make everybody look at me for a minute. I'm gonna just turn that off and back on. While we do that, we'll go over the rest of this. So both the soccer teams, which is pretty awesome. The preparation. So we don't touch a lot or talk a lot about golf, but a lot of teams around are headed to regionals. So preparation for regional golf is in full swing. No pun intended. Do that right?
Yeah,
Is that good?
Yeah, you did right.
Oh, thank you. And then baseball and softball district. Most of them are already through the first round. I think the girls. Oh, you said the girls are.
Girls are
a little bit further.
Yeah, they're started their second round of the playoffs. I mean, not playoffs, but district. Mm-hmm. And the boys are getting ready to start it up if they hadn't already started up this week. So we're getting geared up for some good baseball and softball.
Yeah, we got a lot of tight races. Obviously that District 3A. How's Ryder doing in the baseball?
Ryder, they dropped the game on Tuesday versus Northwest. and it went into extras. I think bottom 9 lost the obviously extras 4-3. So that put them at 6-2, which is still a good mark. And so they're sitting up top the district right now with Toledo a half a game back because they 17 district, due to the bye week you have to have, but sitting on top of there, or Toledo's right there with them. So big game for them Friday versus Northwest at Hoskins. So Wichita Falls is going to be a busy place, the area as well. There was the district track meet out there, City Holiday, correct?
It was in Iowa Park.
Iowa Park. So this area's been pretty busy the last couple of days. So
I think just since we're segued into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about 7-3A, the district meet. It was a meet that you had to be there. It was one of those things where before I get into the overall, hats off to Holiday. I want to say that I know a lot of times as a City View guy, the rivalry, but I want to say hats off to Holiday because their varsity boys and girls, what they demonstrated, the way that they demonstrated yesterday, dominance. And I think the thing that the area that I want to point out that they dominated was the distance running. They finished first, second, and third in both mile relays varsity. Their JV boys and JV girls did the same thing. So that's kudos, and that talks well.
Not the mile relay, but the mile run.
The mile run.
Yeah.
That's kudos to the testament of what they're putting in, the work that they're putting in. Because most schools can't get distant runners and to
have that many for sure.
To have that many kids.
They're led by the Stroman brothers, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. And Noah Stroman and his brother. We talked about this last week. His brother he's fantastic as well. It's just Noah is just like right now. I would love to see him be able to be an amateur compete at the Olympics. I think he could. I
told him yesterday on the field. I said, "You're going to be in the Olympics before you graduate."
Yeah, I literally think the kid has what it takes. Watching him yesterday run that mile, and then to see him have so he was getting ready to lap some kids, and they were in front of him. He was on his last lap, so he had that rabbit in front of him, somebody to chase down. It's like another gear came on. He was trying to literally chase those kids down so that he could lap.
And you could tell. I talked to him before the race, and I was like, 4.6. I said, "You're going to get 4.5?" Just joking with him. He's like, "I don't know. I'm a little tired. I don't really, I don't know. I'll see how I feel when I get out there." Obviously, he knows he's going to win by, however much he wants to win by. But it ended up being, I think his mile was 4:30. 4:30.18 or something like that.
Yeah, that's extremely fast.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
First of all, and that's only 24 seconds off of his nationwide record as a high school student right now. So that was kind of cool. You don't even really notice that because like you when you think of a nationwide record or running that fast, you're like, oh, he's going to be pushing himself. The kid was just like,
so Noah ran it in 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Oh, 4:20, yeah.
His brother ran it in 4 minutes and 32 seconds. And then the other kid from Holiday, Connor, he ran it in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Mm-hmm. So that's a testament of you have 3 kids at your school running a mile under 5 minutes.
And I think like for Ryder and Connor, like what a guy to have to push them. You know what I mean? In Noah. And so like we touched on it last week of brother and brother, but Connor gets to see those guys, and what are they, sophomores, and Connor's a freshman, I believe, and so getting that competition in practice is hard to replicate. It's always practice like you play, but
iron sharpens iron.
Yeah, and so it's gonna make them better. And for a guy like Noah, people think, oh well, he ran 4:20 and he can run a 4:06. Like, I don't think people understand how hard that is. And to go out and do that, and like you said, he was maybe tired and he had the 2 mile that day that he had to prepare himself for. And it's just one of those deals where he could be saving his best. Hey, survive in advance, kind of like the NCAA tournament. We'll pick up on later, but
yeah.
That's
and the thing with Noah, man, is like I've been a fan of his, and like we touched on his brother. Like all three of those kids right there that finished in the top 3 of that mile run could be studs and lead the division and lead their teams into, a deep run, and be very good at individually scoring runs and times. I mean, sub 5 minute mile is crazy.
Yes.
But I remember back to how I started, or how I, began to know about Noah's in the same grade as Grace, my daughter. And very first track meet in junior high. And I think we're at Vernon or something. And Noah's running this mile. And the announcer keeps coming over and he's like, that was a 48-second lap. That was, or something, not necessarily that, but like,
yeah.
He's like, you guys don't notice this, don't realize this, but he's about to break the record for junior high track in this area, or what, whatever it was. And it was just like, man, like, we're all kind of sitting and like, man, this guy really loves this kid. We're new to track and everything's going on, and this kid's just out there running, and he doesn't slow down. And he's just like, I don't know, it's just amazing to see him. And then, it's been a few years since I've got to see him, but then I got to see him yesterday, and the kid is just built. He just, they say built different. I mean, he is. That's just how it is.
Ford tough. I could be wrong about this. Say a couple more things about Noah, and then I've got a couple of kids I want to highlight. I think his strategy, and I could be wrong because I kind of was paying attention, because it's starting out the first lap, everybody's kind of right there with him. I think he speeds up every lap. Like, so he's keeping the same pace, but he's pushing a little faster, because I was like, hold up. He's starting to pull off. Next lap, he pulls off even further. He separates himself each lap. Each lap he separates, and then coming down the home stretch after running 4 laps, I'm like, dude, this dude is sprinting. That's just
3/4 of the way.
That take a special person. Man.
Yeah.
Well, I watched an interview of him on YouTube because I was like, I'm going to look up Noah, because the kid is above this area, in his abilities. And it was an interview from one of his last events he did or something, and he was just breaking down the race, and he's like, I'm just so proud that I ran it the way I wanted to run it. He had another competitor that I guess was pretty close with him. And he's like, I just executed exactly how I did it. So whether that is, increasing each lap or increasing this lap and taking, breathing a little bit more this lap, but I don't know, either way, like you said, it was amazing. And it's not just Noah. I mean, there was so many athletes out there that were just doing their thing.
Before Go goes, but just to touch on Noah and those, those long distance or those milers, you have those coaches on the sideline, like you said, the announcer was, you have those coaches on the sideline yelling out times, 41, 42, so those milers have those plans to, for a race. It's just like any other game plan. You got to go out there, you want to execute, and some of them will look at their watch. I don't know how they do that while running, but they all have a plan, and they try to go out there and execute it to the best of their abilities.
So one other thing, I want to give shout out, to some of the sprinters. Holiday has a young lady named Bregan that goes there. She's fast. She won. When I tell you, like, first off, I know who she is. She's a sweet young lady. But her dominance of how she won the 100 and the 200 was the equivalence of dominance of what Noah does with the mile. You can tell that she's well trained. She does extremely well. Just her preparation. I like to watch kids how they prepare before races.
Yeah.
And who's taking it serious and who's just going out there and kind of like, I want to run track and I'm fast. I'm
social
fast.
Hour.
But her preparation of just getting ready for each race was amazing. I want to point out, of course, Jackson from Vernon.
Beast.
He ran a 48:40, I believe is what his time was in the 400. Him and Jeremiah duked it out in the 200. That was a great race. Jackson edged him out at the line, and then Jeremiah Durham won the 100, and it was a great race between him, Sales from Iowa Park, and the kid from Holiday. I always mess up his last name, but he's extremely fast as well. But those kids demonstrated that. I feel out of 7-3A, that district, not making any predictions, but I think that they have a great chance to have multiple kids from that district representing them at state. One other kid, just because I got to give the big guys some credit. The kid, I always mess his name up. Kylan, I think is how you say it. He plays. He's a discus thrower from from Henrietta. Man, he threw a 163. He launched that bad boy, and it was kind of like I was there. I'm like,
I didn't get to see the field events.
Yeah,
but.
so he did good with that. So I mean, overall, I think the district did a great job of competing. I did have to give hats off to Holiday because out of 4 divisions, they won 3 of the 4.
And I also heard that the Holiday boys, it's been 10 years or more since they've won district for Holiday. So, but yeah, I mean, those Holiday, that group of Holiday boys and even the girls, I mean, it just seems like, and maybe since we've started this whole thing, we're paying a little bit more attention and stuff, to these athletes. But man, it just seems like there's just so many good athletes, and there's just more and more and more. And it's like the competition is at like an all-time high right now.
It's impressive.
And it is. It's really awesome to watch and be a part of. And I know, we all love being a part of it and representing, trying to put these kids, out there as much as we can. But I think it's just awesome. And it's just, I mean, it's only going to get better. And we had a topic we wanted to talk about, but we're missing a key piece to the topic. But it's along the lines, and this will come later, but like it's got to go out to, I mean, kudos has got to go out to coaches. Kudos has got to go out to parents. Definitely the kids that have to put in the hard work. But, when you have the kids playing club ball and you have the kids, doing this and doing that, like it's only going to get better. I mean, it's such a huge industry. The youth sports is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, I almost feel like, and we can touch on this a little bit if you guys want to, but I almost feel like if you're not doing that and you're not starting out with your kids that are eager to get into that kind of stuff, you're going to get behind.
And I think, all of us, even Jay included, obviously he's, he got OWE started, but all of us have started our kids in some type of organization to get them going early. And I think it benefits your kids to start early. And as a high school coach that I am, I don't have time to teach you the game in 9th grade.
Exactly.
We don't have that amount of time. Not that I don't want to, but we just don't have the time to. We want you to come seasoned to us, know a little bit. And yeah, we'll help you along the way, but the more knowledge and stuff you can learn early, whether, it's as early as you can be, it helps you. And so, like I said, my own kids, I'll speak for my own, they all started early in everything. My daughter, she was, I think, first, second grade before she played basketball. And obviously it dates back that way, with the boys, with soccer at 3, 4 years old. Like even that kind of stuff, just getting them, just opening doors to them for that. And if sports is the avenue they choose in life, then yeah, it's gonna help them out. And it helps me as a high school coach and us high school coaches. But the earliest you can get them in, is what I feel like is what's going to be best for the kids.
Yeah, for sure. Early, one thing that I've learned along the way, and I've kind of we can only speak from personal experience and things like that. Not only just getting them started early, but also getting them into a competitive environment early as well. That's part of the reason. Whenever years ago we tried, we did the travel ball and stuff like that. The hopes of doing it was to get the kids that were basically, I would call the bullies of the Boys and Girls Club, to get them out of the, it's more than just Wichita Falls,
Yeah. Say that.
So I think, we get caught up into being the best in Wichita and not realize there's a whole nother world out there. And it's a culture that I think that if you can be a part of a club sport, not only be a part of a club sport, I'm big on training. If you can find somebody that can train and teach the niche of your kids, because, we have a lot of different trainers around here. Everybody does it at a different level. Everybody can't reach every kid, so parents have to do their part, invest, find out. Financially, it is a financial investment. But also too, you have to remind yourself, what I tell myself is that investment is an investment that I'm making towards my child's future. I'm not making an investment to go pro. I'm not investing, but I'm investing for him to have the opportunity, him and her to have the opportunity to play collegiately. Because collegiately means that hopefully in hopes that you get a degree, you know, because, you know, I think these, a lot, and this is, you know, there's so much going into it because, you know, I'm just being real. It's just time that I can speak realness right now, but we put so much emphasis onto what the high school coaches do and don't do, and we forget to ask ourselves as parents, what are we doing to make sure that our kids are getting those avenues?
Yeah, and I mean, this was something we wanted to talk about with Jay because of the position that he's in, you know, but and we'll still talk about this. I just think that, like Coach Evans said, you gotta get them started young. And I think for me, the key part is we got to get these kids off the iPads and off the iPhones and off that stuff and make them watch baseball with dad on TV. Make them watch football with dad on TV. Have them ask the questions. Hey, why did that happen? Why did this happen? Like, those have to be things that us as parents, we need to, because that's where they're going to build their IQ from. Yeah. They're not going to take IQ from, you know, Coach Joe Schmo, who's coach at the YMCA, and you know, those guys
who had to volunteer. Or
yeah, he's volunteering,
and no coaches.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I've been thinking about that for a while. You know, with my son. I mean, we're all pretty involved with our own kids, but I feel like I've done a pretty bad job of that with my son. And so that's something I was thinking. I was like, man, I need to get his IQ up on a lot of things. And so I encourage everybody these days to, if your kids, or if you want your kids to be involved in sports, get them off the pads and get them watching sports with you. Sit down, answer their questions, take them to a high school baseball game, answer their questions, show them what these positions and show them what these players are doing. Make these little kids have favorite players, local favorite players. Like, that's the coolest thing. Whenever you see the high school boys come off after they just won, and you got kids coming over there to like get a baseball signed by a high school, you know, like that's what it's all about right there.
We kind of mentioned this, or maybe I did. You know, we all grew up in small town communities, and it was everybody had that guy that they look up to, you know, and they wanted to. I'm gonna be just like. For me, it was, hey, I want to be just like my cousin Bryson, who ended up playing at Mississippi State, but he was like, that was who I wanted to emulate. You know, when I grew up, you know, or when I was a Plainview Bulldog, I wanted to be just like him. You know, going to games. That's what I want to do. Like you said, parents, you got to help yourselves out. You know, I know times is hard, and you may work a job or two, but hey, send them with a friend. You know, don't just keep them at home and, like you said, with that iPad in front of them. And going back to the coaches, like Jake, like as coaches in communities, you know, get with those youth coaches, you know, and form a bond with them. I'll speak on not Wichita Falls because it's a bit different because there's 2 or 3 different schools, but like in the City Views and the Burke, like if I was, and I'm sure maybe Coach Aldridge already does this, I'm not trying to, you know, ruffle any feathers, but I got Coach O here who's on the board. Hey, what do you need from me as a high school coach? How can I best help serve you? Same thing, you know, in the communities, because I want those kids are going to grow up and they're going to be City View Mustangs or Bourbonnais Bulldogs or Plainview Bulldogs, whatever the case may be. They're going to grow up and they're going to want to be that. And you want those guys to emulate what you have on Friday nights, Friday nights in basketball. Not necessarily what you do, but you want them to grow in that way in the sense
and
of,
to want it.
Yeah, and to have it at an early age. And however best if I can serve you in elementary, well, it's just gonna come back to me twofold when they get into junior high and high school because it's already been collected.
So to piggyback off that, one thing I will say, shout out to Coach Aldridge. Also shout out to the 80s and Holiday, the 80s at Iowa Park, the 80s at Henrietta, and you know, and in Burke. I will say that I do know for the most part, those Top of Texas programs do have the support of the high school, which is it's called having access. It's not much that I have to ask for from Coach Aldridge or even Coach Hawkins when he served there. We pretty much get access to the field whenever we want to use it. Blocking dummies, whatever we need, you know, and they're always asking, hey, what can we do? What can we do? Also, you know, our coaches, they try to find time to come out, watch the games. They even try to encourage the high school kids, go out and watch them, this, that. One thing that that we're trying to implement that I will say that it's just a nugget, and I think it'll strengthen football, mainly football, and other sports too. We got to take the Alito approach. When I say that, meaning Alito high school coaches literally go implement the offense and the defense that they want to see those little kids run so that they can start learning it early. It's not at the level of the high school, but it's pretty much a watered down version of that's on their level. The reason I say that I think that more schools, smaller towns should do that is because when you do that, just think about it. If I'm running 42 veer from the time I'm in first grade, by the time I get to
your
senior year,
it don't change.
It ins and outs. I mean, you're pretty much.
You better be winning.
Yeah, I'm not saying run 42 veer, but I'm just saying
you better be winning because it's going to change up.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where concepts. So I think one thing that I will say to bridge the gap a little bit is we all have to understand. Little league coaches are volunteers. High school coaches are paid for what they do. But at the end of the day, we're all human, and we all make mistakes. The way I might feel a philosophy, Coach Hearn might not feel, Coach Evan might not feel the same philosophy, or Coach Jeff, an example, might not feel that same philosophy. And I think we get caught up into our emotions sometimes that they're not doing it the way that I would do it, meaning that it's the wrong way.
And I was going to say that too, as a youth league coach, I don't want to be intimidating, and maybe I'm not even intimidating as a high school coach, but like
soft,
just giving pointers, or because I feel like we have too many people who want to do their own thing, right? And we've all talked about how here in Wichita Falls, we're trying to come together, but if Jeff doesn't like me and you don't like me, well, you guys form your own team, and I don't like y'all. Well, now I form my own team of 12-year-olds. There's not that many good 12-year-olds to make here in Wichita.
To compete.
Hypothetically speaking, here in Wichita Falls, let's find ways to come together and get the best of the best, which is what we're trying to do with our 9-4 All-Star game. And don't try to venture out and do your own thing. Like, hook up with the next guy. Try to find ways or go to that high school coach and say, hey, coach, how can we best serve you? And try to be on one accord.
Yeah. Yeah, and, I mean, we could talk about this all day, but unfortunately – we have to, not unfortunately, but fortunately, we have sponsors, and we need to get a word from them. So we'll be back in just a second. The realtor we trust is Kim Rowart, given to others with love. Kim was raised in this community and has been selflessly serving for over 20 years. Kim encourages everyone to thrive in their purpose. Kim is part of the Homes for Heroes program, where she gives back a portion of her commissions from each closing to all military, firefighters, law enforcement, healthcare, and educators who use her services. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Kim is the realtor for you. Go check out the website at homesforheroes.com. Since starting from scratch in 2020 by longtime resident of Clay County, Bob Belcher, Duck Creek Disposal has quickly become one of the most trusted waste disposal service and dumpster rental companies serving the 940 community and the surrounding areas. Local to the core, they take immense pride in being a part of the Wichita Falls community. Duck Creek Disposal's deep roots mean that every customer is treated like a neighbor. Their promise is to guarantee the best customer experience in the area, and they live by it. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, or business, they've tailored their services to suit varied requirements. Bob's hands-on approach and belief in personal connection means that when you call Duck Creek Disposal, you're experiencing a standard of service that Bob himself envisioned. You talk to real people, not a machine. Go give Bob a call at 940-257-5660. Serving the 940 community for 12 years, Allegiance Electric and Controls is the trusted go-to for commercial and industrial electrical solutions. Contact them for reliable, tailored services to keep your operations running smoothly. Please call or visit their website at aecllc.com. For all your paving and concrete needs, we trust Freeman Paving, LLC. Located in Vernon, Texas, Freeman Paving is our recommended business for concrete, paving, and dirt work. They have over 20 years of experience working right here in our community. Next time you need any concrete work, give them a call, 940-552-9496. If you're looking to treat yourself to a delicious dessert, then Yogurt Journey is the place to be. Yogurt Journey offers 12 delicious flavors of frozen yogurt with over 60 topping options. If you want something warm instead, stop by to enjoy an amazing funnel cake, fried Oreos, fried brownies, or fried candy. Yogurt Journey also offers frozen yogurt rolls, waffle frozen yogurt rolls, and smoothies. If you need a cake for your next celebration, Yojo provides custom frozen yogurt cakes. Yogurt Journey is located on Kemp Street across from Barwise Middle School and is open daily from 12 to 9 p.m. For all your roofing related needs, we choose Assured Roofing and Construction. At Assured Roofing and Construction, their hard work is based off honesty, loyalty, and integrity, ensuring that every customer gets what they deserve and is happy and stress-free throughout the entire process. When any storm damage occurs to your roof, gutters, fencing, or siding, Assured will have you covered and help you from the initial free inspection to filing your claim, meeting with adjusters, and getting your damaged property fixed properly. Give AJ a call at 940-782-1194. Yo, we're back on the sideline. We're going to finish up with two more little things to talk about here. We got at the 7-3A, is it 7-3A? Yeah, 7-3A district meet in Owl Park. There was some things that went down. Basically, there was an issue with a couple hurdlers, the boys' hurdles, where one hurdler who, if you notice, one was a right lead, one, and very next to him is a left lead. So that kind of causes issues too. Anyways, to get all that shortened out is one player or one hurdler was hitting another hurdler right in the same lane next to each other. And was it blatant? Was it on purpose? Was it, we don't know. We found out we don't have enough footage. We don't have video footage. Not to quote the UIL, but we don't have, from what we've seen, we don't know either kid well enough to really put forward a good feeling about it. I know that I was the one who sent I made a post. I ended up taking it down just because the way I worded it made it seem like we were accusing one of the racers over the other, and that's not what we're about. We're not. So I do apologize for that. But we didn't want to put any blame on one kid or take any blame away from another kid. That's not what we're doing here. We never want to put a negative light or something towards a kid, towards one of these athletes. Like, we're here for them. We're not against them in any way, shape, or form. So let's be clear there. But there was upset parents, basically a fourth place finish, which gets you a trip to area.
Fifth place
and
finish.
A fifth place finish.
Yep.
Yeah. So I do know one of the kids pretty well. He does attend school with my son and Rylan. Rylan's been working hard. I think the little backstory about him, he's getting a little segue right here. I remember when they asked him to run hurdles. I think it was in 7th grade. I think he had never done it before. And for him to be competing at the level that he competes at the hurdles now is just a testament of the work that he's put in. I've watched the video multiple times. The one thing that I'm, just me with my profession, I always try to make sure that in the instance of dealing with children, and I still say, even if you're 18, you're still a child to me, I always want to make sure I give benefit of the doubt. And I think that's kind of what we're doing right now in this situation, because I've never seen this kid run hurdles. And now if I seen him run hurdles in another video and his form was completely different, then my opinion could be, I could have an opinion on the situation, but because I don't, I really can't. But the true opinion that I have about the situation is we have to find a way that UIL has to find more accountability in these type of races. Because honestly, the 110 hurdles, you have these extremely strong young men competing first off to go over a hurdle. I'm gonna be real. If myself was going over a hurdle, it's no telling what I would be doing to try to get over the hurdle. So
I've seen kids run under.
yeah,
I have.
so I think something
Probably
that
kicking it on the way
Yeah,
over.
or kicking it. Yeah.
So I think something that they need to have is just like how this is a suggestion. If anybody want to suggest this to UIL,
UIL.
how we have the flags for the relays. I think because I noticed right away in the event of the race before the video came out, I looked at one of our former coaches and I said, Rollins being hit as he could go across the hurdles. I could tell. And I was sitting in the stands, so I know if I was sitting in the stands and I noticed it, other people noticed it as well. So to me, in those instances, because I think the rule is that if you do that, you're supposed to be DQ'd. So my thing is they should have somebody on those type of events that, if you get out of your lane, if you do these type of things, to make sure that we're holding them accountable for that. Because I think if we did have that going on, I think we wouldn't be at this situation right now where the parents are upset because the upsetness is, you've had a kid that's put in hard work. Not saying the other kid didn't work hard, but at the end of the day, every parent's going to be that black bird where they want what's best for their child.
Mm-hmm.
So he ended up finishing fifth, versus where some people said he could have finished probably even at third because he never got a chance to get his momentum going. But also too, like Jeff pointed out. You have a lefty and a righty in the same. That in itself is going to cause issues in itself. But I think we should shed light on it. The situation. I'm happy that we have this platform to shed light on it. But one thing I do want people to understand that we are dealing with another teenager. This kid is. I can't say he did it on purpose or if he didn't do it on purpose. I don't know him well enough, but I do know Rylan well enough to know that. He was just start after the situation, and then I put it in our group text when we were talking about the show today. His face was extremely bruised up, so I know that it wasn't that he wasn't being hit. It's just
I think the thing here is the situation is some people saw it, some people didn't, and we talked about this during the break just now, but. The huddle. Why not have a huddle camera? Or they may have some kind of camera, but the issue is we, few parents tried to dispute it. The coach actually tried to dispute it with video footage from parents in the stands, and it was denied because it was parent footage, and not UIL, some kind of UIL camera or footage.
Yeah.
So. The goal would be then to, like O said, come up with some kind of thing where it's tightly watched or watched better, or hold or have some kind of camera system where they can check that kind of stuff. And not even, okay, let's be honest. If it wasn't an issue where a kid could go to area and not go to area, this wouldn't be an issue. Yeah. But even if it was that, I still feel like there's got to be some kind of method to do a little bit better. Especially in the world we're in now, where instant replay and all that stuff. Like you said, these kids are working hard, and we don't. I watched the video, and I don't think there was any intention on the side of, hitting. I think maybe a little bit of wild form.
Running style could be.
Like you said, I'm gonna do whatever I got to do to get over the hurdles. That's a tough thing to do. But I don't believe there was any intention. Intention or not, though, should it have been looked at, and should there have been a DQ? I'm not sure.
That's one thing about district track meets that are different. District, area, regionals, and state meets that are different than any other track meet. Is you do have eyes. You have those UIL officials there at these events, and I've seen races where they've taken everybody off, and some DQs or stuff like that they've taken everybody off, and one or two kids have run, so I've seen that happen because the UIL directors caught maybe a disqualification or something like that, where somebody's ran into somebody else's lane. So I've seen that personally. Because unlike any other meet, these district, area, and regional meets, you got to finish in the top 4. There's no tomorrow. You don't finish, your track season's over. So I don't know. I assume UIL directors were there at the meet, and to not see this kind of deal, this is
got to be paying attention.
Yeah, this hurt a kid, regardless of if it was intentional or not. Like this,
Exactly.
This stopped the kid from competing at the highest level he was
and getting
he
to
was
go
able
to the next
Right.
level.
And so there he was hampered, and like you said, I've never run hurdles, but you got to 1, 2, 3 and get over. 1, 2, 3 and get over. And it's a lot that comes that's different than just
So
running
timing.
on the track.
But I think the biggest thing to come out of this is that there absolutely was some kind of contact.
Yeah.
And for the kid who was contacted, intentionally or not, he was, what's the word I'm looking for? He was like unable to fully
penalize.
unable to fully provide his performance. Like
it hurt
due to that.
Yep.
And I think, and again, this comes back all the way back to what we mentioned earlier about, we're people, we're humans, we make errors. If it was somebody who was supposed to be watching that and didn't see it, or maybe thought, oh, it's unintentional, just let them roll, like whatever the case may be. But I think what we all can agree on is that we have to have a little bit better eyes, a little bit better grading system on this, so that these kids that I don't want to say deserve, but these kids, like you said, you got to get top 4. If you don't, you're done. But they're all working to get that top 4, and to be limited by something like this, I think that there should be some.
Everybody wants their fair shot because, like you said, he had worked so hard to get to this point, hadn't done hurdles, got to actually do them, and now he had put himself in position to not only qualify for area, but to get a chance on the medal stand.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be, you don't want your performance or not being able to perform over something like this. Yes, you don't plan for it that way, but if something hampers your performance, it hurts. And this kid a senior?
No, he's a sophomore.
He's a sophomore, so he does have.
And the kid that the whole other situation, he's a senior.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like I said, it's a wild, crazy race.
That's what I say.
Not have eyes on that, or to maybe deem, it was. I can see maybe the first time, right? But if I'm watching or paying attention and I see that happen again, boom, and again, okay, that's a red flag coming up. All right, this kid is not getting. He's hindering
yeah.
the guy in the lane next to him from competing at his finest, and what it's doing to that kid is hurting him. And so
because I think they have that same rule like in the distance races. If you're bumping too much, you can be DQ'd. I want to point out one other thing that happened at that track meet that's about the officials getting it right and stuff like that. Holiday, they were, man, I was like, phew, they almost missed the exchange. And that was another situation, but the officials actually came in and they were able to talk amongst other people, and I think they got the call right. But it's just one of those situations. I think just like how they were able to do that, I think that should have been something that they were able to do with the 110 hurdles.
And maybe let that guy run by himself. And I know you can't take every video from mom, dad, family member, friends. Silly. You can't do that. But to maybe not have a camera, or maybe not have another official say, did you see that happening in lane 2 and 3?
Just put a camera out there, and then you can overlook it.
But
But I think the best, or some of the best piece that I got out of this whole thing was, actually was reading through the comments, because sometimes I get a little slow at work. Hopefully my boss doesn't see this. Somebody put in there and said the best thing that this was Rylan, that he can learn out of this situation is that life is a hurdle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, life is a hurdle, man. You're going to get up, you're going to get down, you're going to have situations come up that just don't go your way. And I think that was like perfect the way that it was said in there. But
and he'll bounce back. He's a kid of resilience, very good kid. he's the kid that's probably why it's he's not a problem child. You know, he's a kid that everybody loves.
That it hurts.
You know, and you just see his work that he puts into it. You know, he still was in good spirits about it. You know, he was like, man, look at my face. You know, why he eats a snack. You know what I'm saying?
And I'll say also, you're saying on that, like I was reached out to through the page by a bunch of people defending the character of the other kid too. So, again, we're not wanting to assume anything.
We want to make it known.
We just, we're all for the kids always, no, regardless. I mean, congratulations to him for finishing fourth. And you know, hopefully he fixes some things in his style or his form so that he can, you know, perform good at the next level. But it's just unfortunate that. But we're going to touch on our last topic, which is, you know, we're going to try to finish with the current events or, you know, situations in the more professional or collegiate level thing.
Before we go segue there, Ryder they're finishing their finals today in their District 4 5A track meet. So I want to give a shout out to the lady 4x1 relay. They finished second, so kudos to them. Also a shout out to Bella Pillow. She also plays soccer. She got second in a triple jump. So
you're gonna turn around and play tomorrow.
Turn around and play tomorrow. She's a heck of an athlete. I got to watch her over the last couple of years as a trackster, and she's gone on to regionals, I believe, the last 2 years in the triple jump. So she'll be continuing. And shout out to Tyrone Morgan. He finished first in the 100, ran a 10.9.
Wow.
To get the gold medal. So that's the results I have as of now. If more results come in tomorrow, whatever, I'll get those out on the next one. But shout out to those individuals.
Definitely, and just shout out to all the.
Yeah,
I mean, we have a lot of seniors that was their last event. You know, like, so shout out to them for competing. You know, however long through their high school career, and just there's so many. There's so many good athletes.
And I forgot this Thursday. Elijah Jackson, he competed and he won gold in the shot put. So shout out to him as well.
Oh, and I want to talk. We're doing like little mini shout outs here. Let's the Vernon boys. They killed it on the mile relay.
Yes, sir.
They got first as expected, I believe. But one of the big things for them and their team was Julius Dawkins got to run. He's been injured for a while. They had an injury to their other big man. I forgot his name.
His hamstring's been hurt.
On like on the 200, I think when he was running, he felt some pain.
They're the defending state champs.
Yeah, they're defending state champs. And Julius came back. He looked good. He ran good. Talked to him afterward. He felt good. So good for him to come back. And hopefully they
proud of you, man. But make sure you don't be doing too much with that issue, man. You know, Coach O is about protecting yourself. But I'm proud of you, though.
Yeah. So good job. And again, good job to all the athletes through track and through all the sports leading up to this point.
Survive in advance.
The one of the final sports events is coming to an end.
Yep.
For men's and women's basketball, which we got started on basketball this year. We had a big year, and now college is in the Final Four. A lot of good games.
Yeah.
I will say this, and I think we talked about it. I don't know if we agree on it fully, but I'm more excited about the women's side than I am the men's side.
I mean, is there a better 2 weeks, 3 weeks of basketball than March Madness? I don't think so.
No.
You know, that first week after spring break or leading up into spring break and watching games. It's like I wish they could do that every week.
Yeah, was it like a Thursday? It starts at like 9 in the morning. You're just at work, like just watching your phone.
All of my sleep patterns are messed up.
Just tuned in. Like I'll put it up on a big projector and the kids are watching it out throughout the day. And so but continue. Like the men's tournament, I think for first time, maybe not for a first time, I won't go out on a limb and say that, but the women's are garnering more attention. You know, the men's have, I don't want this to go the wrong way, let's say better teams, but the women's have the stars. You know, everybody is tuned into the women's game. And I think, you know, for me and you having daughters, that's great, you know.
It is.
Obviously, and his young one
I
as
got
well.
a daughter too, man.
My bad, man.
Don't
She
leave my
just so
baby
young.
out
I
there. You know
forget.
what I'm saying? James, man, he trying to be young.
Yeah.
But I just think, for the women's game and where it's gonna go and grow, like I just believe that is great for staying up watching the LSU, which we can get all in it, the LSU Iowa game, like
Oh man,
see it going back and forth, the trash talk.
and she
it's
just shooting from way out, bro. Like
That was amazing. But do y'all think, since we're on that game and we're on that topic, the one thing that I love most about both of those athletes are they kept it about basketball.
Yeah.
As fans, we try to make it about other things, but they kept it about basketball. They talk smack. I mean, Kayla was like, okay, that's what you was talking about last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I
yeah,
got
she
a
came
point to
back
prove.
and was like, all right.
She got a point to prove, and I think that's the culture that we're trying to create around here in 940, that, hey, you can get after each other, but after that, y'all can be friends, but on the court,
we competitors.
Yeah, so let me touch on some. I'm just going to kind of play like I don't know. So Caitlin Clark beat LSU, obviously, but she's still got some work to do. 2 more games, obviously. If she loses out, what does that do to her legacy? Does that affect her legacy?
I say no. The reason I say no, that it doesn't affect her legacy is because you have to understand, like, and it's just not her. What she's doing, the Angel Reeses, the Juju Watkins, all these other girls, what they're doing for girls basketball right now, that they are.
That's a legacy in its own right there.
In itself. And nothing against, a lot of people get mad about this because I love my legends and the Don Staleys, the Lisa Leslies. They are, to me, let me break this down. And we're not getting in the GOAT talk with the LeBron and all of that either. To me, you have levels like Wilk. You have people like, Dr. J. They played the game at a high level. They did good. Then you brought in like the Magics and the Birds who played it. Then you had a guy that came in who everybody wanted to be like. You see what I'm saying? I think that's what the Clarks and the Reese, I think that's what they do for the game, for the women's game. Like, everybody wants to be like them now. Like, Dawn Staley, she's like still one of my favorite basketball players.
I remember watching her play.
Me too. But then you have to remember, like, everybody knows who Wilk and all of them are. Yeah. But it's when you start, like, okay, she's known for what? Pulling up from where?
Logo.
Okay, she has a name. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to see more and more girls doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just one of those things where I think these young ladies, the platform of what they're doing, they're creating something special.
So Evan, what do you think? Does it affect her legacy if she doesn't get the championship?
I read something today, and because Iowa now plays UConn in the Final Four. And
what a game that's going to be.
I read something today that said if Paige Beckers wouldn't have been hurt for the last 2 seasons, would we know who Caitlin Clark is?
That's a good point.
Because Paige Beckers and UConn knocked them out. I don't know what round, but 2 years ago. Yeah. So it made me think.
And Paige Buchers was a freshman.
Yeah, and if you haven't watched her play,
she's a
menace. And UConn's down like 5 girls, 5 not some starters and bench role players. They're down like 7 or 8 on the Division I level.
I like Paige, man.
Paige is cold-blooded.
But after watching, I agree because it's just like what we talk about with our legends in sports. Yes, the championship puts you in a different realm, but her affecting the game.
I think that is more to me.
Yes,
to me that's way more important. Like what we're talking about, where these girls, like you mentioned, these are the stars. Like you got the Paige Buchers, you got the Caitlin Clark, you got the Juju Watt. You got all these girls that are really, and it's doing so much for female basketball right now. It is crazy. I'm not trying to take anything away from the old legends, like you mentioned, but these girls are on a different level in what's going on right now because of social media, I think, and because of all the exposure that they're getting, and that's going to do nothing but help for the future because it's going to keep growing.
And we grew up watching UConn when they were just they couldn't be beat. It was like they had an all-star
80 games
5.
in a row or something.
But even those, the Diana Taurasi's, the Sue Birds, all of those, like, they weren't making headlines. They were making headlines because they were winning and being undefeated.
But not like this.
Not like this. I mean, you got now the game has grown so much. I mean, you had, like I said, we got those girls. You know, our own girl in Jalen Bristow, who's at Iowa State, the fab freshman that they bought in. Texas had a Big 12 Player of the Year that was a freshman. I mean, Stanford has the Cameron Brink girl out there. You know, it's just so many stars in the women's game that keeps it growing, and it's just
talked about more than men.
And it is. It's getting bigger and bigger, and that's the best. I mean, that's
what you want.
As girl dads, all three of us.
Yeah,
all three of us.
I mean, you got. That's what you got to hope for. I mean, and realistically, like, I think the ultimate goal would be for them to get paid more when they reach that level. I mean, talking about getting paid more, what, and you like, this is a pretty smooth segue right here. What's the thoughts on the Big Three League and Ice Cube and who was it, the rapper guy who now he wants to offer $10 million for her to come play?
Yeah.
Like,
it's avenues.
What does she do?
It's avenues. I think you're gonna start seeing more and more of these companies realizing, like, you know, we might not be able to be as big as the NBA, even the NFL, but there's a platform for us now to make a lot of money and give these athletes another avenue to, especially with the girls, because, you know, they're making a bunch of money overseas, but and it's we talked about this as we were walking out, how the men overseas are not making anything, the girls are, but when you come to the States, it's the opposite. You know?
Let me tell you what I think is happening, and this is like my own kind of conspiracy theory. Ice Cube secretly wants Caitlin Clark to go to the WNBA and to grow that.
Yes.
So he offers her $5 million.
Yeah.
And what does the WNBA got to do?
Got to match it.
They got to match it. And then what does that do? That sets a baseline. $5 million is now the baseline for all the top stars coming out.
And that's like,
and that's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. So Ice Cube's a man. That's what I say.
yeah. And that's the kind of thing, like, the women have to go over because they're not generating enough money here in the States. And the WNBA, I followed along with that. They're trying to keep them home. They don't want their stars going overseas, not just because of the whole Brittany Griner thing, but they want to keep them home and try to grow the game. And with everything that's coming out of college and going into college, I mean, these girls are getting better. They're getting more athletic. I mean, you got girls dunking now. There's one I can't remember where she's from. She's like a sophomore or something. She's two-hand dunking right now. And I mean, that's not saying that's what the game, but these girls are becoming better each and every year. You know, I going back to this, I watched Aaliyah Chavez in 7th grade, so I knew then how, like, those are the type of athletes that the women game is growing to. The Caitlin Clarks, the Paige, the Angel Reese's, like, being able to leave college early, which right now is a big deal with NIL and how much they make in NIL money. You know, women are having to weigh that option.
So a lot of people are hating on Ice Cube for that, but I think he's got a hidden agenda.
Deal. So I'm gonna throw a question out there for you guys. Do you think if they made the girls' goals smaller, where more girls could dunk, be high flying, do you think the excitement of the game will lead to more revenue?
I don't
think so. I don't think the girls' game has to dunk to make it more exciting. Because, I mean, look at us. We're watching Caitlin. We know Caitlin Clark ain't going to shoot a three, but we're going to watch how far is she going to shoot this next one. I mean, for three, in the third quarter, 3 of her threes were further. Each one was further than the next one. One was at 25.
I mean, her average is like 25.3 feet or something.
And the last
crazy.
one was at 30. Like, it's almost like the dunk contest now. Nobody pays attention to that. They want to see the 3-point contest.
It's like it's the guard play. Yes. You know, like that's especially with the women. You know, like to say, like, could that change? Maybe. I mean, we might be seeing a change with it right now with the DJ Burns kid. I mean, are we shifting back to the big man? Like, I don't think we are, but he's doing some things. I mean,
all 4 of those teams, you know, you got DJ Burns at NC State, you got Klingman at UConn, You got Edie, the 7-footer at Purdue, and then you got I believe it's Howard at Alabama, 6'10". Like,
But I think they're big men. But I think they're
big.
But they're still able to move.
Yeah, they're still able to move.
But you know what?
Some of those not Burns.
Well,
He's a Shaq, baby. He's the next Shaq.
That's the Cowboys' new starting left tackle.
But a lot of people don't.
There are a lot of college football teams looking at him.
but the thing about it, I wouldn't compare him to Shaq because when Shaq coming out of college,
nobody can be compared to Shaq.
Shaq was up and down the court.
Daddy, boy.
Yeah, Shaq was up and down the court. You know, but
Shaq was the most dominant player.
Yeah, he the real deal.
I see all these people listing. You see those things on Facebook. It's like, create your top 5. Like, people be leaving Shaq out, bro. You cannot leave that dude out.
He can't shoot free throws.
As we go,
as long as we ain't shooting free throws, we're good.
Him in his prime is the most dominant player ever. Nobody can go ever. But yeah, I mean, it's great for the women's game, and
and like you said, I mean, it's only going to get bigger and better. Mm-hmm. And so, real quick, we got UConn playing Iowa. Obviously, that's going to be a huge game. On the other side is who? We got
South Carolina and NC State.
NC State.
And NC State has a girl, I believe Sanaya Richards or Sanaya Roberts. She was at South Carolina and transferred over.
So big dog. I mean, it's going to be exciting. On the men's side, we have Purdue, the big man. Mm-hmm. I like him. I like his right now. He's being very confident with the things that he says. Maybe a little borderline cocky, but so far he's been able to back it up. Yeah. And then you got big man DJ or BJ Burns. DJ Burns. Yeah. I mean, I haven't got to watch a whole lot of men's. I've only been watching mostly the women's because.
But NC State, shout out to them for having 2 teams in the Final Four.
Yeah, for real, good job.
UConn too. You could end up with a UConn NC State
final. Yeah,
for men's and
on
women's.
Both sides.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take
predictions.
I know we didn't.
Let's get these predictions and then we'll just call it for the day.
I'll take South Carolina.
Women's.
They're 36-0. I don't feel.
Who do you think they'll play?
So South Carolina.
NC State's been a good story, but I'm gonna take the better team. And then in the Iowa UConn game, I'm gonna take Geno. It's like Nick Saban in Alabama. For you to beat them, you got to prove it to me. So I like Caitlin, but I mean, I feel like Geno has the X's and O's to beat them. So I'm gonna go South Carolina, UConn, and then I'm gonna pick South Carolina to win it. They're just too tough.
All right. I like that. I'm gonna, for the women's side, I'm gonna stick with you on the UConn or South Carolina will beat NC State. UConn will beat Iowa. Even though I'd love to see Caitlin Clark's legacy, especially with Paige Buecher's getting another year still.
Yeah.
But I think UConn beats South Carolina.
Yeah.
And Paige Buecher's goes off.
Yeah.
And she's, I mean, like you said, if she didn't get hurt, is there even a Caitlin Clark? I'm sure there still is, but let's see what you got.
So I actually got Iowa advancing to the finals. And I have South Carolina advancing, and I have South Carolina winning it all. Mm-hmm. But the reason I picked that, I just think the storyline of the GOAT talk of, people like, how you going to be calling Caitlin the GOAT when you got Dawn Staley and this? So I think leading up to that game, if it happens like that, you're going to have a lot of the GOAT talking about who's the greatest of all time type stuff. So I would love to see Caitlin win it all, but I just really think South Carolina's team is too good to. I think because they can match up well guard play and down low, where some teams are like NC State's going to give them guard plays amazing for them, but they don't have any bigs. That's the problem where they kind of NC State. They kind of I feel like just overpowered Texas is because Texas is long, but they don't have a lot of guards that can cover. So I think really NC State making a good game, but South Carolina wins that one. Iowa wins the other one, and then I have South Carolina winning the entire tournament.
That's why I agree. I mean, going back, that's why I felt like LSU problem was with their guard play. Yeah, you had Angel Reeves, but their guard play didn't help them out at all. They weren't the same team as they were the year before when they won it.
So let's flip over to the men's side. Who you got?
So Alabama, UConn, they're defended champs. I think if UConn can play any style you want, You know, they can be a 50 game or it can be a 70-80 game. And I was listening to it, and they've lost 5 of their 8 top scores. And for them to be back where they are, you know, I'm gonna take them. And Purdue, and I just went blank on who they were playing. NC State. I think the swan song story runs out. Edey being 7 foot, he can neutralize Burns. Can Burns stay out of foul trouble versus him? So I'm gonna take both number ones. So give me Purdue and then give me UConn, and I think what'll be a really good game. I'm just haven't been a back-to-back champ since the Florida Gators, the Joakim Noah, Al Horford, Corey Brewer team. So give me UConn again.
And you want to see back-to-back then?
I know I picked North Carolina to beat UConn, but they got to beat Alabama.
I'm gonna pretty similar. I'm gonna pick UConn to advance over Alabama. Purdue, I agree with you again. The NC State story comes to an end with the big 7-footer. Mm-hmm. And I think Purdue wins. Big 7-footer is just too much. That's my prediction. What do you got, O?
I got UConn over Alabama. I'm going with the upset of NC State over Purdue. I think Burns is going to give I think the strength component is going to matter a little bit in that. The big guy's big, but I don't know if he's just big. You know, I haven't seen him go against anybody else that was skilled enough to bang with him. Then I have UConn winning it all.
Yeah, I like the story, man. NC State. I would love for that to play out.
Yeah.
I always go for the underdog.
I think it's one of those. Sorry to cut you off, but whichever one of those big men gets in foul trouble first, mm-hmm. that'll be the deciding factor of that game, I believe.
I agree. All right, well, man, pretty good show. We had some pretty good views and talking points and all that. As always, thank you guys for watching. If you've watched this long, appreciate you even more so. But yeah, we'll be back. Episode 10 is next. We're going to have to do something big. Another thing, we were talking about the GOAT talk. That's going to have to be a topic. Since Michael Jordan is the GOAT over
Michael Jordan.
Do we have, who's your GOAT?
MJ.
Who's your GOAT?
MJ.
Okay, mine too. So
Jay gonna say Kobe.
Yeah, I don't mind.
He's not even in the discussion. R.I.P., but not in the discussion. Because if he's going to throw Kobe, I'm throwing Dirk in.
Nah, I ain't going to be that disrespectful. I'm tripping.
Luka.
Dirk's my guy, but I ain't
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We'll start a whole other topic. But, hey, appreciate you guys tuning in, and have a good night. We'll see you next time.